Hey guys, Nate here doing just a really quick talk on Pier1 Imports and the news that they have gone completely online. They have completely adopted the e-commerce model. Really interesting for something like Pier1. If you don't know Pier1, which I'd be surprised if you don't, but if you don't know who they are, they're a very well-known brand, a very old brand, and with basically their whole structure was brick-and-mortar retail locations nationwide, tons of retail locations, and they've shut all that down and they've gone completely online, completely to e-commerce. And so I want to break that down really quick, talk about what's going on with them, and then kind of see just what can we learn from what they're doing for the current status of retail, given what's currently going on around the world. So brief history of Pier1 Imports. Around a 60-year-old brand around that time, I believe, and about 540 retail locations around the United States, nationwide. Around 500 retail locations. And so they were actually purchased in July for $31 million by Retail eCommerce Ventures. Pretty good evaluation given that they had about $1.3 billion in sales in 2019. Now, Pier1 Imports did file for bankruptcy earlier this year, around February, even kind of pre before all this COVID stuff happened. But again, that just kind of set them deeper in the water after all the COVID restrictions came out. So they did file for bankruptcy, having to close down a lot of their stores, basically all of them, firing a lot of people nationwide. And for those of you who don't know, Retail eCommerce Ventures is actually Tai Lopez's company. It's his investment firm. He's co-founded it with his friend Alex. And basically this firm, if you follow Tai Lopez, you've kind of seen him post about Pier1 Imports and him buying them. And when they released the store, you saw him post their traffic. It was an insane amount of traffic when they launched their new e-com store. So you've kind of already seen that. But his firm is Retail eCommerce Ventures, and according to their website, straight from their website, is to transform well-known distressed brands, retail brands, into e-commerce success stories. So that's kind of the whole purpose of this company. Take a retail brand that is struggling, that is well-known, has lots of sales, and then transform them into e-commerce. It's kind of what Tai Lopez and this whole investment firm is based around. You can invest in these stores. This is kind of what he's been talking about on his channels for like the past year, about investing with him and Alex in this investment firm and transforming these e-commerce stores. So Pier1 kind of fits that profile perfectly. They were distressed, filing bankruptcy, and seeing that whole radical change onto e-commerce from an already very well-known, beloved brand. And so what we're seeing from them moving from the retail, shutting all that retail down, again, 500 stores to e-com, is what they have discussed and what they have said publicly is that they want to focus a lot on the mobile side. So we're looking at maybe like iPhone and Android apps close to early next year probably is what they're going to start focusing on. Now, in my experience, I think this is a really good move because in my experience in the ads that I've run, mobile outperforms desktop a lot. Now, generally across the board, a desktop is still a little bit higher on the conversion side, but mobile is higher on the traffic side. So you're going to get a lot of traffic from mobile, maybe not as high as conversions, but people are, for some reason, more likely to convert on desktop. I think that's just still this change that the industry is going through, but I also think it comes down to the idea of optimization. There's not a lot of people that are optimized on mobile as they are on desktop. There's going to be a lot of sites. I come across a lot of sites that are optimized on desktop, but that are not very optimized for mobile. So I think that's still something that our industry is kind of catching up to. They think if they looks good on desktop, it's going to look good on mobile. Well, not the case always. And so that's something I think people are still kind of catching up to. So given that they've been able to make this move, they've hired back some employees, they've changed the location of the business. And all in all, what we can analyze from this is that moving to retail, given that they already have a decent amount of SKUs on their product line already, but this is going to save them a ton of costs. I mean, it's right off the bat, they were able to hire back some employees from the old Pier1, and because it's going to save them a ton of costs in the long run. If you think about all those locations, 540 locations, think about the costs that are involved with retail locations, and think about the costs that are involved with a website and all the SKUs that they already had on their locations, and now think about the costs that it involved to just run the site itself. It's a lot more cost efficient in terms of just running a site. And even though all of the costs involved with shipping and setting up all these SKUs and marketing all of them still probably doesn't even equate to the idea of retail locations, because Pier1 has already talked about the new SKU lines that they want to come out with. And with retail locations, this is a lot more difficult because, again, it's all comes down to real estate. It all comes down to cost per square foot. It's not just 1, 2, 3, let's just release a new product onto our stores. You think about all of those retail locations. You think about things like NCAP. And basically, that's a whole different conversation, but I'm sure a lot of us know the industry that's entirely behind NCAP and the costs involved with that. Just that whole idea of real estate. Releasing a new SKU line is not easy. Well, I've already talked about tons of new SKU lines that they want to release. This is going to be a lot easier because there essentially is not a ton of idea behind real estate on a site, really just the home page. But again, if you have an offer, you're mainly sending people to that offer, to that specific page, and then just kind of making it easy on collection pages to navigate to the new products. And so they're not going to have to deal with all of those costs involved with retail locations and setting up products in retail locations and all the traffic that comes with that and things like updating buildings and stuff like that. So many costs involved. From what I've heard, one of the new SKU lines is going to be that they've been testing is fragrances. And so they've been sending out things like quizzes and getting on Zoom calls with customers and kind of talking about the new SKU lines. Again, testing the market, seeing what people are interested in that they can release on their store. I think this is going to be way more beneficial. And from what I can see, just from a cost analysis perspective, this is going to make so much more sense to have an online store. Big thing I saw in their online store is they are really focusing on the Christmas side of it. Again, in my last video, I talked about that whole idea of talking to your customer and focusing on what's going on right now on their store. We're seeing them focus on Christmas items, Christmas sales, talking about Christmas, talking about gift giving, bundling. We're seeing that kind of stuff on their website, on their homepage, directly is talking about Christmas. So again, focus on that messaging, look at how they're focusing on their messaging from this new e-commerce launch, and think about how you can adapt that to your store. But I think it's just very interesting to see how strong they're coming on and just that whole idea. And it's really interesting just to see that buying up this brand who has been insanely well known for brick and mortar and to see this big transfer. I think that for me, it tells me that's something that a lot of retail locations can do if they do it right. It's not an easy process, but it is a process that people can transform over to. Now, I think we will kind of see some more retail companies focus on this. I actually have some videos coming out soon that are talking about more big retail companies that are kind of adapting more to this change and e-commerce and starting to focus more on that. Now, this makes a lot of sense for Tai Lopez. Sorry about that. I've been following him for a little bit, and it seems like mainly the man really focuses on e-commerce. I mean, I know that he probably knows other industries very well. He's a very diverse person. He's made a lot of money online, and so I know he knows a lot of industries. But I think it's great to see him go this e-commerce route because it makes a lot of sense given right now, given the current restrictions we're still seeing, given the cost effectiveness of going online. It makes total sense. So will we see more e-commerce stores adapting to this? What do you think? Comment down below and what you think that retailers should do right now, given the current state of how things are going, given holidays right around the corner, and given talks about possible second waves of COVID. Comment down below on what you think that retailers should do. And I'm thinking about making a video on like how to make kind of that transfer from retail to e-commerce. There's a lot packaged in there, so it might be somewhat of a series. So if you want to see that, make sure you comment down below. But I think that we will see more of this. And like I said, I do have some videos coming out further about other big ones that you've probably heard of that are making new changes in the e-commerce realm. So stay tuned for those. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked this video, if you found some value in this video, make sure you subscribe and like this video. It really, really helps me out with the algorithm. So thank you guys so much. Until next time.